Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hi, everybody. This is Alex Bennett, and I've had a long and interesting trip. It's called life. And for years, people have demanded that I write a book about it, and while I've been a writer, my main talent has always been that of a broadcaster. Over a year ago, I decided not to write the book, but using my best skill, I decided to tell it. It's called Life in the Passing Lane, and I described it as an audio biography. It's presented in 30-minute chapters, so it's easy to binge listen. And you can access it on the GABNET page by clicking on Life in the Passing Lane and going to a page with every single episode, plus some extras. If you want to access it on your mobile device, that's easy too. It's on iTunes. It's Life in the Passing Lane, an audio biography by me. I'm Alex Bennett.
Connect to life.
We do have several listeners online tonight who are either dealing with parents who have Alzheimer's or who have dealt with that and are now past the final stage.
Connect to love.
Hey, Dad, that was so creepy that you told Melissa that you had sex in 8 years.
Creepy. I don't know what's
and
wrong
you should.
with
It was
my
like
life.
deer in the headlights. Blink. Like,
Oh my God! No wonder he didn't show up to the parade afterwards. He was embarrassed.
Connect to happiness.
bumping and bumping, Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you
Holy
really
cow.
were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The windows-
Sometimes you just have to do that.
Yes.
They were
To
going.
blow it out sometimes.
Yeah. Like a Brazilian blowout was the Cuban blowout going on over there. That's going to put it out there for you people.
Connect with Connections, a nightly feature of GABNET. Join hosts Melissa Fox, Linda Nunez, Porn Star Pete, abetted by Lizzie Say What, and Mr. Punchline as they engage in a lively 2-hour romp that is bound to keep you happy and, yes, connected. Each show tackles a lifestyle or relationship topic relevant to people interested in improving themselves, dealing with the ups and downs of life, and those interested in spicing up their relationships. The gang, along with special guest hosts, share stories and connect the topics with humor to current events in entertainment, politics, culture, and even sports. So get connected, Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern and Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. It's Connections, here on GABNET. Talk like you've never heard it before. Talk like you've never heard it before is now Talk like you've never seen it before. Alex Bennett's Ramble is now in video. Log on to Alex's Facebook page at facebook.com/abennett every Tuesday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern and experience the Citizen Panel like never before. We put a face to people like Phil, Patrick, Renee, Kevin, Tony, Jeff, Bree, Brian, and all of our regulars. And Alex is there too, in his PJs. Just be glad he isn't naked. You can be one of those people who gets seen and not just heard by calling into Skype. For more information on how to Skype us, just go to gabnet.net. You can dress any way you want, provided it's decent. GABNET is now not just talk and not just a pretty face. So why don't you add yours? Reasons why you tune into GABNET. Here's reason number 9. Great celebrity guests.
So how many years is this now with Teller?
43, and that's 43 continuous. You can try to say Keith Richards and Mick Jagger go longer, but they take 3, 4, 5 years off. You know, even when they're together, they take the time off. Continuous, you know, no more than 2 weeks working apart.
Wow.
Like being waterboarded for 43 years.
GABNET. Reasons to listen every day. Log on to gabnet.net for more. GABNET. It's talk like you've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, it's Alex. It is the Ramble, and we go from now until midnight Eastern Daylight Time. Boy, I'm what is it here? How? Oh well, yeah. I was looking at my CPU usage is ridiculous tonight. I just thought I'd mention that. You know, doesn't really matter. Listen, you know what happened this week? Usually I plan the first half hour of the show to have an interview of one sort or another. And unfortunately, there were a couple of things that went wrong. Number one, my ex-wife, Ronnie, who usually does a thing with me about once every 2 weeks, she had a computer break. And so I didn't have her on this week. I had in the bag an interview with Bubbles, which I ran last night, and then I found out I have nothing tonight. So here I am to talk with you, and I really would rather just. I've gotten really lazy. Okay, I don't know why that when I did a show a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock, which is kind of a usual time for me, for my friend Walter Sterling over there on Westwood 1. That I was just all enervated and excited and whatever. But I come on here and I go, So anyway. So tonight I have nothing really to talk about, although I can talk about my day a little bit, okay? Because it was not, another non-exciting day in the life of Alex Bennett. Let me say this, that when I was a big shot, I had a lot of exciting things to talk about because I was out and about and I was doing stuff. But since I haven't been working and since nobody really cares about me anymore and I never get calls from anybody to do stuff, I pretty much stay here in the house doing nothing, all right? And consequently, I have no adventures to talk about. So the adventures I have to talk about are some of the dullest things you can possibly imagine. So let me see here. What happened today? Anything happened today? Well, I went to physical therapy. You know, I've had this thing with my feet being numb and then the feet themselves hurting when I walk a lot. And the physical therapist finally determined that one did not have to do with the other, that they were two separate issues, and that he understood how a blocked nerve could be causing the numbness in the toes. He just couldn't understand what was happening on the rest of the foot when I was walking, and he decided that I had like plantar fasciitis or whatever it's called, or fascistus or fascist, whatever. And so he gave me, you know what he gave me? Last week he gave me a parting gift. He always gives me parting gifts, rubber bands, things like that, right? But he gave me this. What is that? It's a golf ball. Yes, he wants me to take up golf, and he thinks it'll help my... No. Here, the reason he gave me the golf ball, he says, put this down on a towel, and then put it down on the floor, and then rub your, just rub your foot on it. Roll it back and forth under your foot. And so I find, he says, do that about 5 minutes on each foot per day. And I find that while I'm doing the show, if I do it, I'm getting it all done and I don't have to really pay attention to it. But it really makes it feel much better. So I've been feeling better in that part of the foot. But of course, I still have the numbness and I have to see my neurologist next week. So, See, so that's what I'm saying. My excitement isn't like, hey, so I went over and Woody Allen and I hung out, or I went to this thing and boy, did I have a good time with it, or what. No, none of that. It's, look, my foot, I'm so happy. The biggest thing that happened to me is this golf ball that's good for my feet. By the way, I may go to the phones early tonight because I don't have that much to talk about. I mean, I have stuff to talk about, but I'd rather talk about it with a citizen panel, as it were. Okay. So anyway, so I went to the physical therapist. When I was through there, I was going to go home with the girlfriend, so I went over to her office, which is like next door to where I get my physical therapy. And all of a sudden, I looked and I had a message from Apple, and they said that my Mac Mini was ready. All right. Now, in case you don't know this history of this, I plugged the Mac Mini into a wall socket about a week ago, and sparks flew out of the cord. Just boom, went crazy. So, and it wouldn't turn on, wouldn't do anything. All right. It did a little something. The light went on, fan went on, nothing else. All right. So I'm expecting the worst. So I take it down to Apple, but I don't take it down immediately to Apple, because in order to make an appointment with their Genius bar, it's like the closest appointment we have is next Wednesday, and this is like Saturday or something like that. So I wait, and I finally go down there, and they say, well, there's something there. It's obviously wrong, and leave it with us, and we'll fix it for you, because we're the Genius bar. Okay. So I leave it with them, and they said it'll take a couple of weeks. Well, it took only a couple of days before they told me that they found what was wrong, and that they said they could start it right up. They got it to start up and everything, but that the logic board, which is about a $250 item, that everything was fine with it except the audio coming out of it. Well, you know, for what I do, I need the audio more than I need any other part of it. So I said, no, I got to have that. So put in the logic board. Okay, so they put in the logic board along with their fee for doing so, and I bring the whole thing home, and I'm playing around with it, and I suddenly realize that my main hard drive doesn't seem to have as much memory as it should have. And then I check it out, and I find out that I've only got like 120 megabytes of gigabytes of memory. Well, what's that all about? Well, what that's all about is my hard drive wasn't working. This is what they call a fusion drive, and it has a flash drive and also a hard drive, and they work in conjunction with each other. And the stuff that you use the most and all the startup stuff is on the flash drive, so that it starts up really fast. It's wonderful. But there was no hard drive there. So I then get in the cab and go down to the Apple store, which is on the west side, 167th Street. I'm up here on 116th. And I say, hey, it's broken. And the guy says, well, you have to wait an hour and a half to see somebody. And I went, they told me on the phone that I could just come down and you would just take it in and fix it for me, because obviously you didn't fix it. You fixed it with an error, and the error was the hard drive isn't attached. So he said, well, let me talk to my supervisor. You know, like the geniuses don't have any individual will. They have to go to their supervisor. And the supervisor said to me, we'll get somebody on it right now. Sit here. Somebody will be out in 15 minutes. 5 minutes later, somebody comes out. I tell him the whole problem. He says, okay, it'll be about 3 to 5 days to be able to fix it. But I said, I don't think it's the hard drive, because we have all the statistics here when it was first brought in, and it says the hard drive, it recognized the hard drive. So I went, okay, well, you guys just do whatever you're going to do, your magic. So then I didn't hear from them yesterday, but today I hear from them, and they say it's ready. And I go down, and they come out with it, and they say, well, here it is. And I went, oh, great. They say, well, just one thing, we had to replace the hard drive. And here's the bill for it. And the bill was $199. But you don't have to pay for it. I went, really? They said, no, you don't have to pay for it, because we have a policy here at Apple that if you brought something in for repair and then it left here and we didn't repair it, then it's on us to make it work. So we're paying for the hard drive and the installation of the hard drive, and that this paperwork is just simply for tax purposes, right? And I went, you know, this doesn't happen very often that I get something free from Apple. You know, you're lucky if you can get $5 off on anything from Apple, but getting something free from Apple. So I have a new hard drive now in my Mac Mini. But if you think about it, I had the logic board put in, and I had a new hard drive put in. Basically, I've got a new Mac Mini. Yes, I've got a new Mac Mini. So So I've been spending all evening trying to re-put the stuff on it, because obviously I didn't back it up, because it was like a machine I was puttering around with, and there was nothing important on there. So if I had a backup, I could just back it up to the way everything was with all the programs in it. But instead, I've redone it, and it's working okay. It's working all right. And it's a great little machine. It's the most expensive Mac Mini. I bought it from Phil, and it was like he paid almost $1,400 for it. And I'd like to use the term Jewed him out of it, because but he's a Jew too, so we can both use that term. But I told him $300. Okay, and he said fine, because Phil's a nice guy. I'm sure Phil would probably have given it to me for nothing if I didn't want to pay for it. But I wanted to give him some. So in total, I've invested close to $700 in this thing. But it's brand new practically. There's no part in there. I think like the fan is the old fan, okay, and that's about it. Everything else brand new. The case is the same case, but new logic board. Which when they put the logic board in, that's also all the inputs are hooked on to the logic board. So I've got this pretty much this brand new, spanking new machine, and I love it. It's faster. I've got this Mac Pro here, which I love, which I've used for years. I bought it in 2011. All right, so it's 7 years old, and it's a workhorse. I mean, these Mac Pros were workhorses. And knock on wood, but I got to tell you, this little piece of stuff, which replaces this $3,000 machine, or I compare against this $3,000 machine, is so much faster and zippier and everything. And I think they're probably going to come out with a new Mac Mini this year. So I can hardly wait to see what they do. They're thinking of coming out with what they call a Mac Mini Pro, something like that. Whatever. So that's my excitement for. Oh yeah, okay. So now I leave. Now I got to tell you, today in New York, it was sweltering. I dreaded going to physical therapy because I have to get out of the subway and walk about 5 blocks. 3 of them avenues, which if you've ever been in New York, you know how long avenues are. Okay, it's like 3 streets and 3 avenues. And it is sweltering. The real feel is something like 101 degrees. I looked at my watch. It's 92 degrees, but the real feel is probably somewhere around 101, 102. And I go and I do this, and then I schlep all the way over to the west side, walking to a subway, another 3 avenues and 3 streets to get to that. And maybe it was 4 avenues in this particular case to get to the subway, and then I take the subway, which if you've ever been in a subway in New York on a 92-degree day, you know how unbearable it is. Now, years ago, they used to have fans in the subway. Now, a fan is kind of like, it's like spitting on somebody when they're trying to cool down. It does, it's not great, but it's something. And, they've done nothing to make air blow through those subways. So the only thing that happens in the subways that's a relief against the cold, ready for this, is the subway coming. Because it pushes wind down through the tunnel, and you get this breeze that suddenly hits you as the train goes by. Now, that's one of the trains going by. You're still waiting for your train, which hasn't gotten here yet. And once you get into the subway car, all of a sudden, life is wonderful because the air conditioning is working incredibly. Now, that's one of the reasons why the subways in New York, ready for this, are so damn hot. Because they're all these subway cars with air conditioning. Now, what does air conditioning do? You ever been on the other side of an air conditioner? Yeah, it's hot as hell. Why? Because it's spewing out moisture, hot moisture. And so what happens in these subways is they wouldn't be as hot if the subway cars somehow found a way of air conditioning without venting. But the fact that they vent only adds to the heat, and that's why it is so fucking unbearable. All right. So I got on the train, and I go down to get off at 66th Street, Apple's on 67th, and I go over there. I'm feeling like I should be living there. I'm feeling like I should be living there because I've been there so much in the last couple of days. And I got this good news that they had put in a new hard drive, but don't worry about it. It's on us. It's on Apple. It's on the ghost of Steve Jobs. Okay. I then get out and I go, look, do I want to get back in that subway? Because it was also on top of everything, it was crowded. Do I want to go back down there, wait for a train for at least 5 minutes in that unbearable heat, and then get on a train with a bunch of people's armpits in my face? And I go, you know what? I'm not going to live forever. I don't need every penny I've got, I don't think. So I'll take a cab. Wrong. Bad idea. We'd start going down Broadway, and traffic is just really slow. So I say, why don't we go up to Central Park West and just take Central Park West down, because Central Park West always kind of is moving, right? Well, we try to go up a street, and all of a sudden it's blocked off by, of all things, folks, today was the first day of school in New York, I think, and the school buses just blocking the whole street, gridlock. So he goes right, and then he goes left a couple of blocks, and then he turns on to Central Park West, and we figure it's going to be easy peasy. No way. There's a fire, and there are fire trucks, and no traffic is moving, and I'm sitting there as the meter is starting to tick away. All right? And then we get past the fire trucks, but now we've got school buses up the yin-yang. Will you people stop having fucking kids? So it was just one thing and another. It took me, I would say, 45 minutes to get home on a trip that usually would take about 10, 15 minutes. The cost of that trip, because I've done it before coming back, was something like $15, came to $28. Okay. So, but I saved all that $199 at the Apple store. So I don't know. I just, it was one of those days. It made me feel kind of all agita filled, but maybe also feel wonderful. Also, I mean, I went to my physical therapist, and he's actually been getting some work done. I mean, I'm feeling better. And last year when I had the torn meniscus, he worked on that, and now it's not even bothering me, So I really, I like this guy. He's good. He's really good. He turned me over to somebody else there, and that wasn't working out, so I got him back, and it's working out pretty well. So. Next week I go to the neurologist to see what's up with the toes and things like that, and hopefully, you see what I would wish he'd do for me. I mean, this is the only reason I go to doctors. I don't go to doctors because I'm in pain. I go to doctors because I'm in pain, and they're going to give me some kind of drug that's going to make me feel really good. But he didn't give me anything. He said, go see a physical therapist. So and come back and see me in 2 months. So I'm going to, when I see him, I'm going to go, you got medicine. Can't you do something about the numb feet? So we'll see what happens. You probably, give me, how about some, I don't know, some real, see, I'm, at my age, they can give me anything they want to. If I become a junkie tomorrow, does it matter? No. Okay. So I have to go to this neurologist, and I guess he's okay. He's over at Mount Sinai. I don't know what I would get from another neurologist, but this guy, he seems to know what he's doing. He's been around for 70 years. You'd think he learned something. My question is, if you have a doctor Do you want a young one or an old one? Because with an old one, you've got a guy who's seen everything, right? You know, you can just pronounce what's wrong with you, and he knows exactly where it probably is. All right, but a young guy is up on all the latest stuff. Okay, so I really wonder whether you go for an older doctor or a younger doctor. And the first prejudice I had against this guy is that he was a bit on the old side, you know. And then they gave me, this is terrible for me to say. My doctor gave me the choice of two doctors. This one who is very experienced and is over at Mount Sinai, and then another a woman who is over at Mount Sinai. And I went, well, a woman wouldn't be bad. And then I looked at her, and she looked in the photograph to be awfully geeky looking. And I guess I was kind of prejudiced about that. Is that terrible of me? So I went with a guy. I didn't know what to do. I just needed a neurologist, and these were the two my doctor gave to me. You know, usually they give you their friends, is what they do. So, you know, I love this. I love this golf ball. It just makes my foot feel so good. Oh, it's amazing. So anyway, I got other stuff to talk about, and I hope Renee will call. Here's why I want Renee to call, because last night we were talking about Woody Allen. And she and the panel came up with some, what we would call wrong information about the Woody Allen situation as regarded Sun Yi. And I have the actual information, the correct information, by a guy who wrote an article kind of defending Woody Allen. It's called... hold on a second. I got to get my glasses because it's small. It is called The Woody Allen Allegations Not So Fast. And it is written by, let me get the guy's name, Bob Weed. Bob Weedy, I guess it's pronounced. You've seen his name. He's an Oscar-nominated, Emmy-winning filmmaker whose documentaries have covered the Marx Brothers, W.C. Fields, Mort Sahl, Lenny Bruce, Woody Allen, and Kurt Vonnegut. He's also executive producer and director of the HBO series Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he tweets mostly nice things on @BobWeed. So anyway, he wrote this thing, and it's really kind of a defense of Woody Allen. Supposedly Ronan Farrow was incensed by it and wrote them and said, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, blah, 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 blah. But you know what I think of Ronan Farrow. So, in fact, even in this article, and I'll read it to you, a piece of it to you, he talks about Ronan Farrow and whether he could be Frank Sinatra's son, and pretty much proves that he is. So I think that's why Ronan Farrow didn't like this article that much. Ronan can give it. He can't take it. That's what his problem is. So anyway, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up the line, see if anybody's going to call us tonight. They might, you know. Last night was a little on the slow side, but and Renee, if you can, give us a call, because I'd like to impart this information to you. I think you would find it elucidating. And it's 10 facts about Sun Yi, not just a couple. All right. Boy, am I sick of Skype. Always putting up these signs saying, hey, you want to get the new Skype? You want to get the new Skype? No, I don't want the new Skype, you motherfuckers. Anyway, our number is, if you want, it's Gabnet Live is where you go on Skype, and if you want the phone number, just go over to Gabnet Live, and they'll tell you it'll tell you the phone number you can call if you don't want to use Skype. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Alive and well.
Yeah.
So you fixed the hard drive of my Mac Mini. Okay, send it back.
Yes. Oh, what? What? It was bad when you had it?
No. I just figured I'd give you.
I imagine it blew when all the rest of the stuff blew. You know.
Well, they said it worked, right?
Yeah, well, no, they said it worked when they got it, so they're taking credit for breaking it. Okay.
I bet you what worked was the flash drive.
Oh, Renee, if you're going to call me, you got to call us on a new line. She was trying to bring it up on an old group from the last show. So, Renee, give us a call. Yeah. See that, folks? She's trying to call and I can't put her on. So,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute. Answering this call. Are you there? Oh, did we lose Phil Meyer? Phil?
No, I'm here.
You're there? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. Here comes Renee Collins. Okay. Let me add her to the group. Hello there, Renee.
Aloha.
Hello.
Hey, Phil, I'm dying to see your photo. And he's back. Welcome back. It's so good to see you, Scott.
Yeah, we were.
No, I wasn't being facetious. I wasn't.
No, what happened last night, Phil, you weren't here. By the way, why did we suddenly lose a lot of video viewers?
I'm sorry.
I don't know why we.
I saw what happened last night, but go ahead and.
Anyway, what I was going to say is we've just gone down to we've lost a third of our viewers. What happened? What Scott came on?
One person signed off.
One person signed off. Yeah, that's about what's happening. Well, to hell with you. Fuck all of y'all. Okay. Anyway, last night you weren't here, and Scott got bothered by Patrick, so he hung.
No,
up.
I listened to it, and I think that what happened was Scott didn't want to get angry.
Yes, you're right.
Said,
you're absolutely right.
Hey, I like Patrick too much.
Right. I didn't want to get pissed off. So.
Right. No, I like Patrick, and I don't want to get pissed off, and I don't want to. Yeah. So that's how he handled it. You have to respect him.
How can you like
it.
Patrick though? He's a creep.
No.
Well, he's always rolling over people.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in a wheelchair. Pity me.
Get out of my way.
Get out of my way.
He's at Walmart or something.
Costco. One of the people on those electric things at Costco. They're always nasty and mean.
So, Phil, do we get to see the photo?
They take the photo. I placed first and second in the color category, but I'm in basic, and they don't move me up until a higher category for a year. So the year will be up in December, and then they'll put me in intermediate, and then
you'll start losing
masters.
Then you'll start losing like crazy.
Well, yeah, there's some really.
It's kind of like when
guys.
I was a kid. When I was a kid, they sent me to high school, and for some reason, I don't know, the school sent the records and said I was kind of retarded. Really, I'm serious.
Oh, right.
So they put me in the easier classes. When you go into school, they have the easier classes.
APs and
yeah. So I'm getting straight fucking A's. I'm acing every test. I'm not studying for them. I'm doing great, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden they go, he's not retarded. And all of a sudden I went down to a C. So he's not retarded. So that's what's going to happen to you with this photography. They're going to put you. They got you on the short bus, but now they're going to put you on with the regular kids.
Well, what happens is if you do take first or second or even third, they send it to a thing called N4C. Now, N4C, and you can look them up, n4c.org, that's 14 Northern California photo clubs. And then, so if I win at the Rossmore one, then they send it to this one, and I compete against 14 other clubs. And I've taken first place, best of show, things like that. So I'm doing okay. Sometimes I'm a little short on something to submit. You submit your good stuff first that you've archived, and
well, what are you going to get? What are you going to do when you get off the short bus, though?
I just have to step up my game, and what it does is it forces you to go out and shoot stuff, number one. Wow. And number two, you get critiqued, and the critiques help. Now, it's just one person's, a professional judge. They pay these judges twice a month to come to our meeting, and because we have 2 meetings a month, and we submit the photographs twice a month. in the different categories, and so these professional judges will critique your stuff. Some judges like this thing, some judges like that thing, but you'll learn and you find out what they're looking for and what you can do to improve.
Yes.
You have 3 judges?
One judge a night per meeting. So
wow. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm on the website now, and my jaw just dropped on this one photo.
Oh, the N4C.org?
It's n4c.org or .us.
I think it's .org, yeah. Well,
yeah, it just amazing. Do you ever talk about, okay, because I'm old and this is going to be an issue for me and I'm going to have to get over it, over-processing or under-processing?
Yeah, there's a category that I refuse to participate in, and it's like, it's called pictorial. And what they do is people Photoshop the shit out of stuff and they saturate it and I don't believe that that's photography. I believe that that's...
Oh, I think you're absolutely wrong, Phil.
No, it could be art.
It's
no, wait a
graphic
minute.
arts.
Hold on a second. No, I think you're completely wrong. All you're doing by enhancing a picture and adding color to it and doing things like that is the same thing you would do in a dark room.
Yes and no.
No, yes. Yes, it is the same as you would do in a dark room. That's exactly what Photoshop was created for. It was to be a dark room for digital.
Well, I use a form of Photoshop called Lightroom, but the thing is doing these oversaturations and using filters and things like that, as far as I'm concerned, is graphic art, and graphic art and photography, I don't believe are the same things. If I was going to sit there with a pen on a Wacom and draw on a picture,
I always felt that when you took a picture, and I was a photographer too.
I know that.
And the same was true with video. That once you were through shooting it, you got the basic job done. The next job was to take it and crop it and enhance it and do some dodging if it was black and white and so on and so forth. You know what I'm talking about, Jeff?
Right.
And that was
I even dodge and burn in color.
I felt that was a way to really do the art. And when Photoshop came along, I said, well, all this really is the same thing I've always been doing, except I'm doing it digitally here.
Yeah, I do think it should be in a separate category, which it is. So, and I do think it's art as well. So, if we're going to go down this weird ass direction, this might get a phone call from Damien. Has anybody ever seen that fractal art?
I think I've heard of it. I'm not sure. What is it?
It's weird art. They take a normally, well, I say space because they all look like outer space to me, and then they tweak it, and then they do a whole bunch of stupid stuff to it, and then they throw it up on the web saying that this is art. And I just don't understand how the fractal, and fractal means something, and it's a process and stuff like that. But if anybody ever gets a chance to look it up, please educate me. Because I've had people try to tell me it's art, and I'm like,
yeah, but people, they take these preset filters and things like that, and then they submit it. And if you're going to sit there and dodge and burn, I'm all for that.
Keep talking, because I want to go get my iPhone. Right. Okay.
Sure. This is the basic stuff of photography, is to develop, to dodge, to burn, even to combine.
That was.
Yeah, see.
Right. Well, I'm old school. I had a dark room.
I threw that stuff off 30 years ago or more.
And that's why I prefaced the whole conversation, because I have seen some amazing photojournalists do incredible work, and they have no problem with the post-photo production. And I need to get over that, because it doesn't make a sense, because I'm just holding on to something. So they're out there. It's beautiful. It's wonderful work. And it's just something in me that never... But Ansel Adams took the photos, and he had a darkroom person.
Oh, Ansel Adams, besides developing zone photography, he if you look at a picture, one of his most famous pictures is Sunrise over Hacienda Sunrise. Mm-hmm. And that picture, if you looked at the basic negative, that would have ended up in my garbage bin. And he combined stuff and put the sunrise and all these other things in there to make one of the most renowned photos of our time.
Okay, and I should be embarrassed. The guy who does his dark room stuff is pretty famous. I should know his name, but he did. And so when he got to the point where he was out there shooting all the time, he would turn it over to his dark room guy, and they would work on it together, which is just crazy to have a darkroom guy.
But he could envision what he was trying to create, even though he had maybe somebody doing the physical stuff, which I wasn't aware that he did.
Shot. He should be shot for not knowing this stuff.
So I'm competing with that N4C thing, and that's some pretty tough stuff. And,
Oh, Phil, are you doing any black and white?
Yes. One of the categories is monochrome. But I shoot in color, and then in Lightroom I can just click and turn it into black and white. And there's some other programs like Nik software, which has a lot of black and white editing tools. And,
So,
well, I'm sure this is of interest to everybody.
It is to Renee.
My
we
wife.
can change.
Yes, Jeff.
Okay.
Yes, Jeff.
And the best thing she does is she uses her Apple cell phone.
Oh, some of the best pictures.
Cheap one. I mean, I'm talking about the 5 or something.
Some of the best pictures I've ever taken, I've taken with an iPhone.
I only laugh because you can't knock it. Is that what she tells you? You can't.
Won a whole bunch of awards on that stuff.
Right. It's not the camera; it's the person's vision and eye.
I think.
But the camera helps when you got low light, or and you want to overcome certain obstacles, or you need speed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you should have to show us some of. Take us. You have a desktop. Sometime you should bring her art or photos over to the computer camera. So
I've probably got about 20 or 25 of them in the living room, laying up against the wall.
Well, I want to see the MMA ones because you were pretty close for those. You should have some really sweaty, disgusting stuff.
Look, yeah, I did. Look at the Facebook page, my Facebook page.
I can't. They kicked me out.
They kicked you out of Facebook?
They cut my ass off after I said Joel Osteen. So the quote was...
You said something appropriate.
Right. It was. I did. And the quote was, God couldn't make Joel Osteen open his church for the people of Houston, but Twitter did.
Yeah,
and
but
they hated that.
Joel Osteen has nice carpet. You wanted him to.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even hard. There was not even a bad word in that one, but they didn't think it was funny.
So somebody complained? Is that
yeah. So they banned me from Facebook for a little while, and I never went back. That's funny.
Banned from Facebook, you and Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, he just... I don't know how Marco Rubio did not punch... So Alex Jones was in the Capitol.
Well, Alex Jones was trying to get somebody to punch him.
Right. And he came up to Marco Rubio, and Mark, he's not going to have any of it. Who are you? And he just kept going. I probably would have launched. I mean, I don't have it, but
I would have.
What?
I would have. You know that.
Why was he picking on Marco Rubio?
Because he's a dick.
I know, but they're from the same ilk, basically.
They were having some hearings. On Capitol Hill about Twitter and Facebook, and Alex Jones showed up to harass people. Okay, and he did. He tried to harass Marco Rubio. So that's the story. What went on?
Wow. Well, I guess I'm sure Marco Rubio could handle it. He couldn't handle Trump. He came back at Trump during the debates. Trying to get on the same level as Trump's.
By the way, what I've been doing is I've been getting a picture. This is a picture I took just the other day with the iPhone.
Yeah, you can't beat it. And you can't say anything bad about it because
and look
it's only
at
going to
that.
get better.
Look at that. That was just, it's all natural lighting and everything else. The iPhone is capable of some very neat stuff now.
Yeah. So I gotta look at it on.
Yeah.
Did you post it?
I can't.
It's coming. It's coming. It should be. It is. It's running right now on the show. Yeah. You know, she doesn't like it because she says she has bags under her eyes, and I said I can Photoshop it, but I decided I didn't want to.
You know, Photoshop really wants us to stop.
But look at what that camera can do. You know, it takes the background out completely, and replaces it with black, and it's a great black and white photo.
Alex, just email it to me. I have a program called Portrait Professional. And what it does is it will take out, I could tell it how much to take out.
No, but I can do all that myself by hand. I can do that myself by hand. I don't want to. I just like it the way it is. I think it's a very
30
natural,
seconds, it's done.
Nice picture of her. Yeah.
I can elongate the neck. I can do a whole bunch of stuff with it, and it's very quick.
You don't have to do that. Her neck is just fine.
Yeah, well, you can't see it in this one.
Oh my God, an unsolicited comment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, an unsolicited compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Like that.
Now you may notice also. Hello, Ray. You may notice I'm wearing this shirt. Let me do this just so people can see it. This goes back. This shirt has got to
be
video
toaster, huh?
Yeah, this thing's got to be 1993, maybe 94.
That's the last time you washed it.
Yeah, but it's never been worn before, so I'm wearing it tonight. And then for
you missed Ray's photo.
I like that too.
Yeah, that's a great photo.
Well, it looks like Michael Richards.
I decided I would wear this for a little bit, although it doesn't. The trouble is it doesn't have holes in it, and so therefore it gets very hot. But I thought I'd do this for Phil.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll do this for you.
There we go.
I want that Obama shirt. I'm willing to pay for that Obama shirt now.
There you go. That's my Red Army hat. In China.
It's very becoming on you.
Actually, it's a very cheap hat. But it doesn't have any vents in it, so it gets really hot.
Was it made in China, or was
no? It was made in Cleveland and sold in China.
Yeah.
But I don't wear this hat out because I figure people will get mad at me.
Not in Harlem.
I don't want people to get mad at me. Are you there, Ray?
I am here.
Yeah.
I just don't have my camera on right now because I'm outside walking somewhere, but I'm going to go home and hang up, and then I'll come back on on the computer.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
yeah.
I got some. Okay.
I could put the camera on. What the hell?
Yeah, go ahead. And
what the hell?
Turn it sideways. Get out of portrait mode. You know how I hate portrait mode.
I know. I do too.
I figure people should be executed for portrait mode.
I hate it myself.
No, we can't even execute him for voting for Trump. What makes you think we can execute?
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Anyway, I want to bring this up because last night we were discussing Woody Allen.
Yes.
A subject you get apoplectic about.
Woody Allen is not somebody I really care about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. And I don't really remember it. I just remember it was got the, like you said last night, it's got the factor to it.
Well,
so go ahead and clear it all up.
Okay. This guy, Bob Weedy, is it? How's it pronounced? He's a producer over there at Curb Your Enthusiasm and is a writer and producer of documentaries. He's done things on Lenny Bruce. He did the Woody Allen documentary, I think that was on PBS a couple of years back. And he wrote this article that was called Woody Allen Allegations Not So Fast. And one part of it had to do with what we were talking about last night because you were asking about, well, what about Sun Yi? And we were saying, well, wasn't she a kid? Blah, 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 blah. He says, first, the Sun Yi situation. Every time I stumble upon the topic on the internet, it seems that people are most outraged are the most ignorant of the facts.
Probably.
The following are the top 10 misconceptions, followed by my response in italics. Number 1, Sun Yi was Woody Allen's daughter.
I thought she was,
No,
was it Previn?
She was Woody Allen. She's not Woody Allen's biological daughter.
No, it's false. It is absolutely 100% false.
Hold
on, let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Will you let me finish, Phil, please? That's coming up, okay?
Oh, okay.
Soon-Yi was Woody Allen's stepdaughter. False. Soon-Yi was Woody and Mia's adopted daughter. False. Soon-Yi was the adopted daughter of Mia Farrow and Andre Previn. Her full name was Soon-Yi Farrow Previn.
Okay, thank you.
Woody and Mia were married. True or false?
I don't know.
I thought so, yeah.
False.
They
never got married. Woody and Mia lived together. True or false?
I think that's true.
That was false. Woody lived in his apartment on Fifth Avenue. Mia and her kids in the Central Park West. In fact, Woody never once stayed overnight at Mia's apartment in 12 years.
Oh my God! So this whole thing was completely ridiculous.
Yeah. Woody and
Fake
Mia.
news.
Okay, here we go. Woody and Mia had a common law marriage.
News.
Well, obviously, in light of all we've said, that's false. New York State does not recognize common law marriage. Even in states that do, the couple has to cohabitate for a certain amount of years. Number 7, Soon-Yi viewed Woody as a father figure.
False.
False. Soon-Yi saw Woody as her mother's boyfriend, and her father figure was her adoptive father, Andre Previn. Soon-Yi was underage when she and Woody started having relations. That was the big thing that came up last night. That's false. She was either 19 or 21. Her year of birth in Korea was undocumented, but believed to be either 1970 or 72. Soon-Yi was borderline retarded.
False.
Is the answer that he has. She's smart as a whip, has a degree from Columbia University, and speaks more languages than you.
Who the hell even? I have never heard that part of that conversation.
Woody was grooming Soon-Yi from an early age as to be his child bride. He goes, oh, come on. According to court documents and Mia's own memoir, until 1990, when Soon-Yi was 18 or 20, Woody had little to do with any of the Previn children, but had the least to do with Soon-Yi. So he wasn't even in the picture with her until a bit later. All right? So those are the misconceptions.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, my life is not going to change in any shape or way now that I know that he didn't, whatever it was. Thank you for
does your opinion change a little bit?
Well, I have to ask you one question first. Can you tell me how much time you spent on that?
No, somebody sent it to me.
Okay, so you didn't spend like 15 minutes reading it and then another 10 minutes reading it? And
No.
It's interesting, actually.
Okay, because you spent a whole lot of time trying to prove that he was not in the wrong. But have you given any of that amount of time to any of the women that have come forward in any of these cases? Because you spent at least 15 minutes. We just heard at least 3 minutes.
Hold on a second. To begin with, Woody Allen has not been accused of having any improprieties with any other women.
No, that's true. I'm not talking about his other women. I'm talking about anybody from Weinstein, anybody from
This has nothing to do with Weinstein or Me Too or any of those things.
It is though. Oh, okay.
No, it has nothing to do with it, except that it's Ronan Farrow who has been making these accusations.
No, it's okay. So first off, this whole thing was an accusation 20 years ago.
Well,
15 years ago.
Here's an interesting part of this article that he brings up that we've all been talking about. While we're on the subject, a word about the Sinatra business. To even say Ronan is possibly Sinatra's son implies that Mia was fooling around with her ex-husband decades after their divorce. Backdating from Roman's birth date, it means that Mia Farrow and Sinatra hooked up in March of 1987 when Mia was 42 and old Blue Eyes was 71. This sort of dispels the myth that Woody and Mia had this idyllic, loving, monogamous relationship until Woody threw it all away in 1992, since Mia was apparently diddling her ex 5 years earlier. If Mia was just kidding about the Sinatra scenario, it was an awfully insensitive thing to say, considering the fact that Sinatra's wife, Barbara, is still very much alive. Did Mia stop to think how her coy tease might be perceived by the widow Sinatra? One can only wonder if this fits Roman's definition of a moral transgression. One may also wonder whether Woody is owed a fortune in reimbursement for child support.
Hey, did Mia Farrow, was she kind of known as a bit of a flake?
Yeah, not a flake. She's crazy, nuts.
Crazy. Yeah, I was trying to be nice.
Off the wheels.
Yeah.
You know.
So I wonder if that's where that. Because see, I've never heard that.
What did Democrats say? Off the rails.
Huh? Yeah. He says he's not here to slam Mia. I think she's an exceptional actress, and I seriously admire her political activism. But those who hate Woody for what he did to Mia should be reminded that if Sinatra was indeed Roman's biological father, it's not the first time Mia and the child had a child by a married man. Okay. Andre Previn, 40, was still married to singer Dory Previn. The betrayal is to have led to Dory Previn's mental breakdown and institutionalization, during which she received electroconvulsive therapy. So,
what was that? 19? Yes. See, this was a while ago.
Yeah. But the point is that now the other thing is that the daughter says that he had sex with her, or that he abused her, or whatever. And a lot of people are saying this may not be true because it's enforced. What's the thing we call it when there have been a lot of cases of this where people like those. Remember that school where all the kids thought that they had been molested?
Show me on the doll where he touched you.
It's called there's a term.
Not coercion, but it's
it's you make the kid think that it actually did happen.
Yeah.
Okay, when in fact it didn't.
Probably called collusion, right?
No, it's not called collusion. They think that may have something to do with the daughter and her claims. Yes, Jeff.
Pam says it's leading.
Leading?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we had a whole bunch of people whose lives were ruined by that kind of thing, you know. And it turned out that at that school, I don't think anybody.
The McMartin. It was called, I think,
the McMartin preschool.
Day School.
Yeah, preschool.
Oh, McMartin daycare.
McMartin.
Yeah. It was pretty dicey because a lot of people lives were ruined, literally ruined by that situation.
Was that in the Bay Area, that McMartin school?
Southern California.
Southern California. Yeah. Okay. But I mean, it was terrible what happened to those people. And it's something like enforced memory or whatever, in which the psychiatrist is asking questions that kind of what's the word?
I agree with Jeff. They lead to a conclusion.
Yeah. Diane Weeks is calling. She never calls this program, but here she is. Hold on a second.
She probably has the answer.
Are you there, Diane?
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. I'm just I'm just going to be about 10 minutes late.
What?
I'm on my way, just so nobody gets upset or anything. What's so funny?
By the way, I suddenly realized that I had my picture on for the last 10 minutes, but I hope you people didn't mind. I'm not that ugly. Yeah. Anyway, yes, Diane. Yeah. Is some reason you called? Because you never call.
Well, that's not true. It's not
never.
Oh,
my God. I'm sorry.
No, but
I thought I was calling my job. I'm running late. Oh my God.
Okay, call your job.
She pocket dialed the show.
Oh, how funny. Okay, well, have a good show, everybody.
Well, I thought you maybe had something to add to this conversation.
Okay, bye.
Bye. What, she butt dial us?
Yeah, she pocket dialed the show. she wanted to call her employer to tell them that she was running late.
Well, how did she push? I guess she pushed the wrong button. Hey, by the way, folks, I'm sorry that for a little bit of this video you had me on all the time, but it's no big deal.
I don't know how will you live it down?
How will I live it down? I don't know. I'm trying to. But anyway, so I mean, we make things so black and white in this whole deal, and rather than say, hey, you know, we have to. I'm a kind of person, I've always been, I think, fair, okay? And I don't like to accuse people of things when there's not sufficient evidence or it hasn't been proven. And I don't think lives should be ruined on innuendo or on say-so. And a lot of that is happening now, and it's not good. And Woody Allen, for instance, right now is having a hard time getting financing for another movie. So he's going to take a rest for a year. I would hate to think that this very talented man who makes great films will never make another movie again because these accusations have made it hard for him to get financing. And by the way, he is a profitable director for the studios because he brings his pictures in at a price that most of them go into profit. Okay? So
you know, during this whole Me Too movement, I haven't heard Woody Allen's name very often. So I'm not sure who's bringing this up or who's even talking about it.
Ronan Farrow just recently came up with a lot of stuff about him. Okay.
Oh, so Ronan's bringing it back up again.
Yeah, Ronan. Somebody's got to put an arrow through Ronan's foot. You know, got to slow him down a little bit. He's getting a little too rambunctious. Huh?
You're just upset.
You know, can't,
no, they
can't
give him a fucking Pulitzer, and then there's no stopping him. You know.
Oh God, no. I mean, the truth is out there.
Well, no, but what truth? You know, he is relating what people have said is true. They feel is true. But he's not, you know, he's never, did he go to any of did he go to Harvey Weinstein to get his side of the story?
I don't know if that
I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, not
Why?
that Harvey,
Did it
not
make a
that,
difference? Is it important?
Yes, of course it's important.
Now, if he's going to court, if they're going to take him to court, the first thing your lawyer is going to tell you is don't talk on
Well,
camera.
he might have said, no, I don't want to talk to you. But, I mean, I think it would be in the sense of fairness.
You're guessing that he hasn't done it. You don't know that he hasn't done it. He just hasn't told you he hasn't done it or done it.
Well, I never talked to Ronan Farrow.
Exactly.
You know.
So making the assumption that he's never tried to get Harvey Weinstein's side of the story isn't probably, it might not be true, or it might be
Well, all
true.
I'm saying is if you're looking, that's one of the reasons that NBC wouldn't run the story is because the story had not been vetted. It was not sourced. He could not name any sources to MSNBC. And so they told him, we can't run it yet. It's not ready. When you can get some people who are willing to put themselves on the record, then we can run the story. But we can't run it this way because we're putting ourselves in legal jeopardy.
Was it MSNBC
Yeah,
or
it was
NBC?
it was MSNBC that he was working for at the time.
Oh.
Wait a second. Okay, wait. Isn't it NBC and then everybody's below it, MSNBC and then?
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's you could say it's NBC, but then again, you could also say that Telemundo is NBC too.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I mean,
it's under the same
but I think he was working for MSNBC. Remember when they brought him in? They thought he was going to be the next big newscaster, and he just flopped horribly. Yeah. You know, he came up with this story, and he brought it to them and said, "I want to do it." And they looked at it, they vetted it, and said, "You don't have sources you could name. There are no named sources here. These are only you saying that certain people say that, you know, and
it's hearsay.
It's hearsay." And they ran it past a lot of other journalists within their company to see what they felt, and they said, we'd be crazy to run this thing this way because if Weinstein tries to sue, and he was making intimations that he was going to if this story ran, if he was going to sue, then we should have the goods to back it up, and we don't. And Ronan doesn't have the goods to back it up. Now, apparently, when he went to New Yorker magazine, either their bar was lowered, or he suddenly had some people who would come forward and name themselves. All right? But he didn't at the time he presented it to MSNBC. And that's why they didn't run it. It wasn't cowardice on their part. It wasn't trying to help Harvey Weinstein.
No, actually the letter that you put, the press release that was released sounds very much like CLAB, or Cover Your Legal Butt. That's all it screamed to me. when you read it. It was just a legal document.
They were covering their butt
ass.
against all the people who were saying, you know, like Trump, you know, oh, you didn't let Ronan Farrow run his story on your network, blah, 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 blah. And they just wanted to say, look, you know, we're a responsible news organization, and we don't just run stories because somebody says, I have somebody who's anonymous who said blah, blah, blah. You know, well, I have anonymous people that say, you're Frank Sinatra's son. Fuck you. You know, you're going to come sue me? You'll probably win the suit because I can't name the source.
Has anybody done DNA on Ronan Farrow?
Believe me, if you do it, it would be singing My Way. You know,
take him to lunch, grab his glass.
Every time I see him, I go, and that's not Frank Sinatra's son? You know, I mean, come on.
By the way, earlier when we weren't allowed to call in, you were being ageist against your doctor.
I know.
Well, cut it out.
Why?
Because he... you don't understand that?
But, you know, listen, a Jew can call another Jew a kike, and an old guy can call another guy old. Okay, so fuck
an alpaca.
But you know what? The answer to the question isn't if it's an old doctor or a new doctor. The answer is who's going to be the best doctor for you.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I don't care if he's really old. I don't care if he's young. I just want to know who can do it and be the best at it.
Well, no, but all I was saying is that when I had my choice, you know, and he said, here's this younger female doctor and there's this older male doctor. You know, you pick one of them. Here are just the people I suggest. To begin with, I read her, you know, some of the people who reviewed her, and they weren't as good as this guy. Okay. But then again, you don't want to read reviews about anything online in general because people who hate somebody are going to go there and write something immediately, and people who love them aren't going to write anything, you know.
You know how I picked my cardiologist?
How?
The appointment times given was the most convenient.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She didn't do anything except set stuff up. And
was she the surgeon?
No, she wasn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fine. Pick them any way you want.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it worked out great. She was actually very good, but it was just a stroke of luck.
Stroke is not the term you should be
using.
Stroke.
Yeah, we all caught that. What is that monkey thing?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Excuse me.
Okay.
Your cardiologist is got to be one of your most important doctors.
Yeah. Well, she turned out to be great, but it was not through any fault of my own.
Well, I wonder who Burt Reynolds' cardiologist was.
Yeah, poor guy.
Was he was sick, right? Anyway,
he had heart problems back in about 2010, didn't he?
He wasn't looking too good, and but his hair always looked.
But I'm not looking too good, you know. No, but at that age, nobody says you're gonna look good.
Current pictured.
Yeah, he's only 82. What's that? 4 years older than you?
Yo, shut the fuck up.
Welcome back, Phil.
Yeah.
John Cleese, when I had him on my show years ago, used a term, and I always keep remembering it. He says, "As I get older, with the grave ever yawning," you know, and I always think of it as the grave ever yawning, getting ready.
Yeah, we don't think about these things when we're younger.
Yeah.
Okay, he wasn't that old. He did still decent looking.
You know what happens
Bert,
the question is, when do you say to yourself you're old? Because it wasn't until a few years ago that I suddenly realized, fuck, I'm an Altacaca, for Christ's sake.
I'm still the person I was when I was in my 20s. I don't think any differently, but you know, I have some.
That's because your opinions haven't changed.
Yeah, yeah, I was probably liberal back then.
Yes, Jeff.
I think 70 is a place when you go over the line.
Really?
I don't know that I felt that way. You know, I just.
Well, no, it's not that you feel that way. Other people.
It's amazing how age creeps up on you. One day you suddenly realize hey, I'm 78 years old. Next birthday, another 3 months, I'm going to be 79. This is ridiculous.
My mother is 90, and she is just as spry and doing the kinds of things that she was doing 20 years ago.
Fucking young boys?
Well, no, she went through 4 husbands, though. And, she outlived them. And then, she still acts. She does commercials. She's in a theater group. She does aerobic exercise. She drives.
She's doing more than I am.
And she doesn't even take a pill. Nothing. Totally healthy. And in the 60s, early 60s, she was doing documentaries on belly dancing. I mean, she was very
And how
active.
How old is she?
90.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice DNA.
Yeah, I got my father's, which he died at 44.
At 100, at 100, my mother was a complete wreck. Anyway, she
mother is McCain's mother is
106? 110 or
no, 106. 106.
106.
Wow. And she looks great.
She looked damn good DNA. We need to clone it. Sorry. Somebody needs to be getting that sequence down.
Yeah, I think she looked good. I just don't think she knew where she was. That was the impression I got as I watched her. Did you get that, Scott?
No.
No.
But I saw her functionality, and her functionality was still wonderful. So it was like, okay, that's impressive.
It's hard to bury a son,
Yeah, but when you live that long, you're going to. I mean, it's interesting that she buried a son who died at 82. My mother lived to be 100. She's long gone.
Yeah.
She died. God, what year did she die? I can't even remember now.
I don't know. It's not marked on the gravesite.
Will you shut the fuck up?
For those of you who don't know this.
Well, who was it? I was talking on this panel a couple of nights ago about not having a gravestone for my mother's grave, and a couple of people said they didn't have one for their mothers.
That doesn't excuse the action, but thank you
What do you
for
mean? What do you
trying.
mean? Doesn't excuse the action? What is it? It's a piece of rock that says you were here.
In your
father.
case, go ahead.
My father has a plaque on the ground, and I guess it depends on the cemetery what they want, and the part of the cemetery he's in, they don't have stones; they just have like a brass plaque or bronze plaque. Or something.
Was it? Wait a minute. Maybe it was. Oops. Let me see here. Oops. I got
Hello. I'm back. How you doing?
Hi there.
I love your flaming head.
You like that? Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, I took that in the kitchen with my iPhone.
Yeah.
That was a good picture of Marjorie.
Were you the one who said to me, Ray, about you didn't bury your mother's or didn't put a stone on your mother's grave or something? No.
No, that was
wow.
that was Bubs, I think, wasn't it?
Was it?
No,
Bubs?
that was.
We got more nice.
What is that? Hold that up. Hold that up closer to your. Hold up closer to your camera so we can see it. Who is that? Is that your mom? Is that your mother? Your mic isn't on, by the way. You're muted. You're muted, Jeff.
201.
Yeah. Who is that? Is that's your mom?
94.
That's my mom.
Yeah, she was 94 when she passed away.
She was 94.
Yeah. Nice DNA. That's very good DNA. Ray, what does your dad have? Or did his DNA get short?
What is my?
What does your dad have or your mom? Is any of your guys still living?
Oh, my parents are both still alive. Yeah. Yeah, they're up in Alaska right now on a cruise. They just sent me a picture today. I can show it to you.
I hear that tour, that Alaskan boat tour, is spectacular.
Well, it looks like they're having a blast. Here's my mother.
Okay, closer.
There's my mother.
Driving the ship.
Directing the ship.
Freaking ship. Yeah. That was today.
Wow.
My parents are pretty young. They had me when they were 21 years old, which is why they had no business having children at that time, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Back then, people got married younger. My mother married my father. She was 18.
Yeah.
And it was much more common for people to start a family early.
I think in Texas and some of the southern states it still is, from what I've heard. Hawaii.
Anybody want to guess why?
It's probably an economic thing.
No, Phil. Did you ever? Who's their firstborn child?
Religious?
In your household, Phil.
I am.
And did you count? Did your parents have to get married because you showed up, or were you there? They were together before you showed up.
They were together long before I showed up. I was born in 54. They got married in 48.
Right. So there's a whole bunch of people that had to get married, and in the South right now, there's a whole bunch of people that have to get married too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was born
no
9 months. I was born 9 months and 2 weeks after my parents got married.
Yeah, they knew it was coming.
Bada bing, bada boom, baby.
It was. That's not unheard of.
What I always said was, never ask the one question that you shouldn't ask, and that is, don't ever ask your parents, under what conditions was I conceived? You know, because you might get an answer like another inch you would have been a butt fuck. You know, I mean, I found out you'd like to think you'd like to think that mom and dad said,
I gotta flip.
You know what? I think it's time for us to have a lovely child. Let's do something about it. Oh, here, let's put on some nice music and some. No, my parents were waiting for the furniture to arrive in a new apartment. And since the furniture wasn't there yet, they were sitting on the floor, so they decided to fuck. That's how I was created, okay? I wanted a little more romantic story than that, but my mother was perfectly blunt and honest about it.
And after you were made, they broke the mold.
That's right. That's right. But no, they were really, you know, so you never ask your parents under what conditions were you conceived. You know, I don't know how long they waited before having me. I think they waited like a year, maybe a year and a half. I don't.
All you have to do is pull your birth certificate and pull their marriage license.
You were born in 39?
I was born in 39. Right? Yeah.
And what year did they get married?
I don't remember.
42?
Something like that. You mean, Dad? Yes, and a goddamn cheap one at that. Yes.
My mom was born in 39, and my dad was born in 37.
So your mother is the same age I am.
That's right.
Oh, but that was not your father. It is your father. Okay.
Although she could be a little older than me because my birthday comes in December, so that really it's not, you know.
No, she's January, so you're older than her. No, wait.
I'm younger.
No, she's
than
older
her.
than you. She's
Yeah?
older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, by like almost a year.
She's probably 79 now, right? She's got to be.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Because I'm 78 and I'll be 79 in December. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Tony. How are you? Turn on your mic.
He's muted too.
Turn on your damn microphone, Tony. Tony keeps writing me Facebook messages.
Oh, lucky you.
Tony needs to get
Tony, where's your audio?
I can't talk to anyone.
Where's your audio?
Nope, still can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Is your microphone muted?
You sound great, Tony.
Did you lose your voice?
Say that again, Tony. Oh, yeah, I understand.
No,
Bill's got
stop it.
fake hearing.
You need to hang up and call back. It would be a good idea. Jeff, what's on your T-shirt?
Oh, I don't know.
Ketchup.
Lunch, I think.
No, it says something. I just can't. I don't know what it is.
Support the right to bear knowledge.
Phil, read that. Read it closely.
I support the right to bear knowledge.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the
House of Blues.
The elephant in the room.
You wanted to get to that op-ed piece?
We already talked about that last night. You missed your chance.
Yeah, no reason to talk about that.
We all knew about it anyway. So what's the difference?
I had a question about that.
All I can imagine is how crazy Trump is getting right now in the White House, suspecting everybody. You know.
Now, everybody is calling this op-ed. That stands for opinion editorial.
Yes,
correct.
It's not fact. It's an opinion.
right?
And it's anonymous.
You're to begin
So
with.
I don't give it any
begin with,
credence.
Phil. It's not anonymous.
Yeah, well,
Anonymous
who put his name on it?
Anonymous would imply that the Times didn't know who it was, and they know who it is. The person just wanted to remain anonymous, but they know who it is, so they could vet it, and so they could.
Isn't it funny that this article sort of coincides with Woodward's book, and his book is basically the same kind of thing as this article?
Well, then we
Maybe
could
it's a
then
plant.
no, either
sell
that
his
or you
book?
could call it confirmation, couldn't you?
No, we call it a plant to sell his book.
You could call it
Tony's Flanagan.
You could call it confirmation.
Yeah, I just think it's a non-conversation.
Non sequitur.
Yeah,
we
there's
already
no-
knew about it.
Yeah, there's no reason. And even if Mike Pence is the person who did it, it's just PR. It's just public relations.
I doubt Mike Pence would even.
And I doubt that too. And so we don't need to talk about it because
I think it's George Conway.
Well, I think it's Dan Coates.
Yeah.
It's the one that
I think it's B.B. King.
He's dead.
I think it's Conway Twitty.
I
for that one?
No,
Is he dead too?
I think it's Kanye West. I don't know.
Well, no. But Kelly Conway's husband, George Conway, and she don't see eye to eye on Trump, and I think there was some issues between.
Yeah, but he
George
doesn't
Conway
work.
and
But
Trump.
he doesn't work inside the White House, inside the West Wing.
No, but you don't. They didn't say that it.
This
was
person
inside the
indicated
West
that,
Wing.
no. This guy intimated that he was part of the staff. You know.
Staff.
Well, the staff. You know, that is part of the crowd that does business in the West Wing for the president. And whether it's this guy's account or the account of Bob Woodward, they don't seem to be that far afield from each other. They seem to paint the same picture of the same crazy, obsessed human being and the boy child who is our president.
Well, that's what you'd like to see. And
no, that's not what I'd like to see, Phil. That's not what I'd like to see. I would like to see that I was wrong in not voting for Trump, and that he was a sane, rational man who was doing good business for our country. I would love to be able to sit here and tell you, Phil, you were right about Donald Trump. I would love nothing more than that.
Now they keep saying that he lies. All right, this is one of the accusations.
Hold on, who are we talking about?
Donald Trump.
Who else?
We actually have the facts and the proof that Donald Trump lies.
Right. I look.
We're not.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't. But I'm saying that I looked up tonight what these lies were, and it was a website. It was the Toronto Star or something, and and a number of them turned out to be true.
Yeah, but there were literally, since he's become president, 1,000 lies. Okay, so the fact that one or two turn out to be true is like,
clock twice.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff.
My mother was alive. She would say he's got pimples all over his tongue for lying.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Supposed to have a nose that grows.
Yeah.
There you go. Noise.
What we have is a man who is, I think, crazy.
Ill-equipped to be
I say thank God for people like this guy who was the anonymous person in the op-ed piece, who are at least trying to hold all his emotions at bay and not act on his impulses.
Well, I see him in front of crowds. He's in Montana tonight, and he's not going. He's not going off the rails.
What do you mean he's not going off the rails? That's him on stage. That's him in front of the public. We're talking about him in private and the decisions he's made. He wanted to kill Assad.
I think that's a good idea, and I'm glad that he sent 56 missiles into Syria when they used poison gas on their people.
Yeah, and so bombing the end of a runway doesn't make you take out anything. I mean, All he did was he dropped a whole bunch of missiles on the end of a runway. He could have dropped them in the middle of the fucking runway so the runway couldn't have been used. But no, your guy blows up the end of a runway.
That's a good signal. Jeff wants to say something. I'm sorry, Jeff.
I said this last night, and I'll say it again. I think when I was 6 years old, or in 6th grade, how about that? 6th grade, I learned that we don't kill presidents from other countries.
Right.
You
could say I'd like to, but that doesn't mean
even during World War II. I don't. During World War II, I don't think we ever plotted to kill Hitler.
Oh, yeah, there were plots to kill Hitler.
No,
though.
the plots
one of them fail.
Within his own ranks, not from the United States.
Yeah, it wasn't us. It wasn't the United States that did that.
Just because somebody says, "Hey, I'd like to kill Assad," doesn't necessarily
mean
he
didn't say I'd like to kill Assad. He issued an order to assassinate Assad.
Now, who says that he ordered this assassination? Is this anonymous guy?
Supposedly, this was people near to Mattis, because Mattis said, "Okay, whatever you want," and then he told the people around him, "Anybody acts on this, do not act on this." Okay, and admonished them not to, because he knew that it was the wrong thing to do.
Well,
how
Trump
much things have to come out about Trump before you realize this guy's is Looney Tunes?
When he starts coming after the Jews,
well, let's see. Already gone through the black people.
Yeah.
Headed through the white.
Well, he did the Hispanics. We got the Hispanics. So
I think you're just enjoying your 15 minutes of fame.
How was that? I'd come up with
something else. Because you're the most popular person on the panel. So it's like you're going to keep doing this until Trump just goes in ape shit.
Well, wait a minute, Tony. Have you got sound now? No, you don't.
Sounds great, Tony.
Your mic isn't working.
Tony, we can't hear you.
There's
no reason to keep talking, Tony.
You're gonna have to put it down on paper.
There goes Tony again.
I like how we tell him his mic's not working and he keeps talking.
Yeah.
I keep telling him not to text me all of those things, and he keeps doing it. But
yeah, he texts me all kinds of shit all day. It's kind of funny though.
I know. I after a while I block him, and then I take the block off, and he slows down.
I think do I still have him blocked? I blocked him at one point.
Yeah, he sends you pictures of cereal boxes.
Yeah, I don't want to see another Hanna-Barbera cartoon character.
Come on. So you guys must see them more often than I do. Because he was sending me like Quisp. I haven't seen.
This is a guy who works folding boxes to put hats in all day in a heated warehouse, in a non-air conditioned warehouse. He has nothing else to do but write you,
Yeah.
Well,
messages.
So if he didn't put a box and a hat, you probably wouldn't have gotten the hat that you bought.
Now, if he would spend that much time doing the boxes, then he could go into the office where they do have air conditioning and do something productive, show him that maybe he's got something going for him and get promoted. But he sits there.
What do you show people? We can ask him here, but he won't be able to talk, I don't think.
Said like a true Republican.
Okay, are you now? Is your mic working? No, it's not.
It's not, Tony.
It's not working, Tony.
We should tell him it is working.
Stop screwing with him.
Tony, stop talking, Tony. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. There he goes again.
He doesn't give up.
You know what I have now?
Like Einstein.
So that we have one person here. I know he's listening probably right now. Who on Gabnet, who is technically retarded. Okay.
Leave him alone.
Well, no, but he is.
Picking on Jack.
So what I have, is I have a access to his computer. I could go on it right now.
With that new program.
Yeah, with the new program that I have, and with his permission, I can go online to his machine. And so if he's having any real problems, like Tony right now, if I was able to get onto his machine, I could probably find what's wrong, which is probably something as simple as going into your preferences in Skype and saying, "Hey, I want the microphone that's in the camera," So, yes.
So I think what you ought to do is upload a whole bunch of Alex Bennett photos onto Jack's machine, and so when his wife opens up the machine, it's all Alex.
No. Better yet, I'll put a bunch of like porn. On his desktop. So when his wife opens up the machine, there's this big dick in somebody's mouth.
No, she's a CPA kind of person. She ain't gonna think that's funny.
But we would.
Yeah, he would, but
we would.
Oh, you would.
No,
yeah,
I would never do
really
that.
matters.
I would never do that to him because by allowing me onto his machine, he trusts me, and I'm here just in case
That's
there's
his
ever
first mistake.
In case.
Well, is he afraid of spiders or anything? Can we take a bunch of pictures of those?
I'm not going to do anything to ruin his machine.
Okay.
Hey, has all the weather gone past Hawaii now, or
no, we've got
normal?
Hey,
so
let's
hit the 6 o'clock weather.
Talk about the fucking weather. It has just been brutal here in New York.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and you don't have a stupendous view, and you're roasting like a pig. So enjoy.
He has a great view.
Well, no, in Hawaii you roast pigs, so
There you
go. But Jeff, what were you going to say?
You should have came to my house because we have a swimming pool across the street there. And I went in the water. And you know what? I just wouldn't want to get out because it was so.
It was brutal. Just brutal.
Brutal.
Tomorrow, today it was 92. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 75.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
You have something blowing in?
Yeah, and it's going to be. It's not going to go above 80 for about a week.
Congratulations! That's
now
great.
there's something going on in the Gulf. Are you getting any of that?
There's a hurricane. There's a chance of a hurricane by the end of next week, when girlfriend's coming back from China.
Can I put in an request for Obama T-shirt?
I don't know. I bet they don't have them where she's going. They had them in. We just saw them in a store in Beijing, but she's going to be in Shanghai.
Oh, okay.
And that's those shirts are. I don't know. I don't know if I just wasn't lucky and found one. And I bought.
So we have 2 hurricanes coming our direction. One is they're both, according to what's happening, is they're both going to hang. Take it off to the north.
I bought that the same time I bought this. So.
Yeah, see, that's pretty cool. I don't know why you're afraid to wear that out.
Oh, I don't know.
Who do you think is going to stop you?
Well, you know what?
The Chinese police?
It's very uncomfortable because it has no air holes in it, if you notice.
Oh,
so
yeah.
in this weather,
just take an ice pick and
Yeah. But I bought this at the same place I bought the Obama T-shirt.
Good investment. Good investment.
Yeah. There's Kevin. I bet his microphone's working. Hello, Kevin.
Ho, ho, ho. How are you?
Yeah.
You're perfect.
But, I just don't know how much of this has to go on, Phil, before you say, well, maybe there is some truth to some of it. Don't you think there's truth?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so?
Phil,
you think all this stuff is
seriously anymore?
No, I don't think so. I believe in what he's doing, and his results are what's important. And whether he says things that make Democrats crazy is one thing, but on the other hand, his results are exactly what I want done.
Where's the wall?
It's coming.
Jeff, what do you got?
He said
that result, which is, I know what you're going to talk about, the finances. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with what Trump has done, because I think the finances of the country have gone up for the last 7 years. I don't think Trump had anything to do with it.
No, but it's a continuation of that. Many people said that if Trump got elected, that the stock market would crash, and that's obviously.
I never
not
heard
what
that.
happened.
I never heard that.
Well, then you had your head in the sand. But as well as he's gotten rid of a lot of duplicate, onerous
Give me an example.
regulations.
Give me an example.
Well, coal.
Coal? You mean that old form of energy?
You mean the energy that we're exporting to other nations? Yeah.
You know something? Export it all you want. I don't want coal burning in this country anymore. And I don't want
the energy that gives more people cancer than anything else on this planet.
Yeah, well.
Yeah,
but
and
this is a temporary thing.
And the what?
He said he was going to pump oil. He was going to do everything he could to get the economy going and make us energy independent of the rest of the world, and then also come up with alternative.
He's not coming close.
Sources.
He's not even coming fucking close. You know who's coming close? China is coming close.
Yeah, because they're buying our stuff.
No, they're not buying our stuff. They're not buying our
sanctions.
stuff. They're developing their own alternative forms of energy.
Yeah, probably stealing the technology from us.
God, you know, Phil.
Well, and you know they steal technology. You know that they're doing all of these things that they're not practicing fair trade with us. And Trump is standing up to them.
Tell me, outside of things in Silicon Valley, tell me some technology recently that this country has produced.
Well, that is, robotics, but
wait a minute, hold on a second. Robotics is like 30 years old, and they didn't have to steal robotics; they just improved on it.
There's a nanotechnology that is going on in China right now. Will
you explain nanotechnology to us, please?
Well, from what I understand, it's I believe that the stuff, I heard a story on it.
You're not telling me what nanotechnology is.
Nanographic thing. It's something the Chinese are actually
Nanotechnology is not technology, by the way, your grandmother uses, okay? So.
Well, look, this technology.
That's nanotechnology.
Nanotechnology. Okay, so you explain it.
Well, what does that have to do with Trump?
Well, it has to do with our technology is being reverse engineered and stolen. Our patents, if you want to buy a Louis Vuitton bag, it's not a Louis Vuitton bag if it came from China. Not that I would buy one of those.
Hello, Jack.
Plastic thing with.
Hello, Jack. You've just come on in time to hear the complete meltdown of Phil Meyer.
No, you're going to watch Renee explode. Fine Italian leather.
It's
Italian.
vinyl. Louis Vuitton makes vinyl. It's not.
Their entire line is not vinyl.
I heard on on the Money Channel, MSNBC or whatever it was, that the leather thing, that we ship our leather over to China, they process it and send it back, and the tariffs that they put on the leather once it leaves here and goes over there and gets tariffed back on us, that it's going to could put the was it Miracle Leathers almost out of business because of the tariffs. We're tariffing our own stuff.
Well, maybe we shouldn't send it to China.
We can't do it because we took the business away. They took the business away from us. We took it over there because they were doing it, and we don't do any processing of leather here anymore in the U.S. And now that it has to go over there and come back, it's going to get tariffed.
Well, actually, what it comes back as is beef jerky. So it's,
I thought it came back as vinyl, with the Louis Vuitton sticker.
Vinyl isn't plastic, isn't leather, Phil.
I know, but we send them leather and they send us vinyl.
Your couches are going to cost more.
Hello, Jack.
Hello there. One thing to Phil Meyer. Oh, I take that back. Two things.
Oh, how about 5 things? Go ahead. Just have at it.
I got 2.
Just 2. In 20 years, this country is not going to look like you.
That's okay.
Thank God.
All right.
Well, thank God for small favors.
Probably it'll be a plus.
And this needs to be one planet, one people, with open border. Because sooner or later, we're going to need each other. Sooner or later, this nation-state bullshit has got to stop.
Well, I don't believe in a one-world government.
I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm asking you to accept the fact
I won't
that it's
accept it, and I won't, I won't support it.
We will not see it in our lifetime, but probably in my great-grandchildren's lifetime, we will have to see it.
We'll see.
Okay, Phil, to your wonderful, you've got the wall built, you've got infrastructure jobs, you've got a health care plan. Here's the latest information. A study of consumer bankruptcy protection has found that the trend nationwide is up. It says about 1.2 filers per 1,000 in 1991 for people who are between 65 and 74. Now it's 3.6 filers now. So it's up by a whole bunch. It's going to get worse.
How is the ACA working for us then? That's what we're using, the Obamacare, the ACA, and bankruptcies are up. So you think that that's a failure?
No, you do realize that the last half of President Obama's administration, we were trying to not let you tear apart the ACA. What did you do? You did two things that were important. You refused to fund past a particular date, which we just passed. So everybody's amount that they had to contribute was going to go up, and they refused to do existing. You guys are going to be refusing to do existing conditions, so that's going to go up.
You know why they did that?
No, you did it. Republicans did it.
You know why they don't need the existing conditions anymore?
Right.
Because now I'm cancer-free. I can get.
So you're seeing, and this is what bothers me.
You're not cancer-free for 5 years. And you didn't have.
I don't have a prostate.
Yeah, but you're still not cancer-free for 5 years.
There we go. So why is it that Republicans don't give a shit about these people who are 65 to 74?
Let me add one other thing while you're there, Renee, and then we'll go to Jack, who had his hand up. The vast majority of bankruptcies in this country now are among old people for medical reasons. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's pretty sad.
You think that's poor planning?
Yes, poor planning on the part of the government. Yes, Jack.
You know, Phil, don't confuse the Affordable Care Act with medical care. The Affordable Care Act is just an insurance plan. It was a bad insurance plan.
But everybody...
Everybody?
Yeah,
Everybody?
Look, I was walking the dog yesterday,
and
there's a thing called Trinity not too far from my apartment. And what they do is it's homeless services. And parked out in front of there was a mobile medical thing. It was this gigantic mobile home. And they give free health care to the homeless. All they had to do was,
I'm not
walk onto the bus.
Anybody want to start with why are they homeless and how does it reflect on us that we can't take care of our homeless and give them homes? Let's match health care. Do you want to go there?
Look,
Phil,
they're homeless.
Just yesterday,
Renee,
wife,
you got to quit.
Just yesterday,
yeah, it's a lost cause. Well, yeah, yes, Jack.
Sorry. Had a medical procedure done.
Mm-hmm.
It took roughly 90 minutes. The bill to our insurance company was $10,000. Now, why is it? Why is it, if our system of funding medical care is so goddamn good, the rest of the world isn't looking at how we do it?
We're being taken advantage of by the medical. It's all of them.
So what are you?
It's a conspiracy.
I love the fact that white men.
No, I want to ask him
white men.
Sorry.
I will go this far, Jack. I will go this far. The $10,000 is money they never expect they're going to get. Am I right, Jeff?
No, this was paid for by our insurance company.
They didn't pay the whole $10,000. They get a lot.
They paid everything but $1,000.
And who paid for that? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Who's paying that $1,000?
That's coming out of our pocket.
Ah, now there's the big problem. Let's say this wasn't a $10,000 deal. This was a $200,000 deal. What's your share going to be?
40. It would be. Well, I'll tell you about my heart surgery.
It would be about
$45,000.
Huh?
9,000.
Hey,
wait a minute. Hold on a second. How much was your heart surgery?
A little over $350,000 by the time they kicked me out.
And how much? What was your?
$35,000.
Yes.
And
now, how many people? Now, you had the $35,000, right?
I told them I was not going to pay it all in one time. I couldn't afford to.
Yeah, but what happens when somebody can't afford it at all?
They write it down.
Yeah, but the thing is, other countries, because we're too damn stupid to say, let's look at what somebody else has done. Let's send some American citizens, not, congressmen, not healthcare officials, some working average everyday, go to the job and turn screws on the machine, Americans, and have them investigate what they do somewhere else. Wouldn't that be shocking and new?
Hey, Jack.
Yes.
My last stent operation, because I didn't get a bill for the first one, but for the second one, they sent me a bill. I was in there overnight, $47,000, and I paid $135.
Well, you see, you're in an HMO.
Yeah, and also ask him one other thing, Jack. How much do you pay a month for health insurance?
Yeah. Well, right now it's $1,000, a little over $1,000, but that's common.
You're paying. No, it's not common.
I have the highest level policy you can get. I have the platinum plan, so I have no deductible.
I'm sorry. I have Medicare and I have a supplemental, and that doesn't cost me more than $2,000 a year.
Well, now because you're a senior, next year when I qualify for Medicare, it goes to $99, and you pay Medicare and then $99.
And why do you think this program?
Wait a minute, Ray. Let Ray talk. He hasn't had a chance to talk tonight.
Why do you think that our system is so good? Our medical system, our insurance system.
I don't.
Well, then why are you so against making it better?
I'm not against making it better. Why would you assume that?
Well, because there's a way of doing it that the Western European countries, except for us, have all
done. This is the issue. I am all for making it better. I don't believe that government is the answer to making it better. See, I don't believe that our government does things efficiently.
Pick up the trash? They don't deliver the mail? They don't fix the potholes? Are you going to pay for your own potholes?
Okay, let me. Jack, relax.
Crank it up, brother. Let's get up there to the top and let's pound.
So let's do this.
The only thing that's going to pound is your heart.
Okay, so the last 2 years of the Obama administration, the Republicans spent telling us they have a better health care. They have a plan B. It's a better health care.
They obviously did.
It's a plan B. We have a better health care.
Yeah, where is it?
They're full of shit.
They're
all full of shit.
Where's your wall? Gone, not there. Where's your infrastructure?
Oh, by the way, wait a minute, hold on a second. The other day, yesterday, when Trump was giving a speech saying how wonderful things have gone and how well he's done, and then assailing this writer of this op-ed piece, he then said, and we have this and we have that, and we started the wall. Huh? We've started the wall? What did he do? Did he go down and just...
And they got funding. They got funding in that last go-around.
If there was any cement poured on that, the news people would have been there in a heartbeat. So he's lying shit.
No, they did. I saw pictures of what they were doing.
I saw pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, interesting story. This was brought up on the exchange with Damien just before us, and he brought it up. You know that picture of the inauguration and the people in the inauguration standing there? It turns out that the picture that was released by the Park Service was a lie. It was fake news. They were asked to doctor it by the Trump administration to make it look like there were more people.
So you don't like Photoshop? I thought you liked Photoshop.
So Phil, every time something is brought up to prove you wrong, you make a joke or you divert.
Yes, exactly.
No. You didn't hear what Alex and I and everyone else was talking about.
Well, no, but you do that, Phil. You do that.
So what?
Well,
what? Because then you never actually handle the issue.
That's how you divert.
As soon as something is brought up that makes Trump look bad, you just change the subject.
I admit that there was fewer people than at Obama's inauguration. Obama was busting them in, you know? I mean...
listen, there were less people at the inauguration than at an Ariana Grande performance, okay?
No, I'm just going to go with a bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvah?
Yeah, there were more people at Alex's bar mitzvah than there was at Donald Trump's inauguration.
Maybe there was, but
no, it looked like it. It looked like it, but the National Park Service came in and photoshopped my bar mitzvah.
Your bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvah.
Look, Phil is a good supporter of his team.
I'm a supporter of Trump. I don't like necessarily Republicans because they're in the same 13% acceptance.
Did I say Republicans? I said of your team. Now, let's just whip the hell out of his team. That's all we got to do.
No, I like Trump. I like what he's doing, and I see past all that other bullshit that is making
you
guys...
No, you can't see past
Trump.
You're
listening to the dog whistles.
Well, he makes his own tweet.
I don't want any American 65 to 74 years of age filing bankruptcy due to medical. That's not how Americans do this shit, and people need to understand that.
If they had Medicare, why would they have to file bankruptcy?
You know, that's, you know what? Go ask the accountant. Ask the person who posted.
No, you ask them. You're the one that cites the statistics.
It's just, but how are you as a human okay with making old people have to decide between their medicine or their house?
Well,
how is that good for you?
You know, sometimes I've had to decide between my business and my house. I mean, stuff happens to people.
See, you don't have to have a business, but you do have to have a prostate. Well, forget it. Sorry.
Phil, have you lived anywhere?
Wait till you get in that position, Phil.
Phil, have you lived anywhere outside of the country and dealt with their system? Yes or no?
No, I have. I've never had to have medical things.
Then, if you were a real American with an ounce of curiosity, you'd go investigate that, wouldn't you?
As far as I'm concerned, our government is not doing a good job with health care, when it deals with insurance.
Did I ask you that? Did I ask you that? I said if you were a real American and you were genuinely concerned about the shitty job that our government does, that our insurance companies do, that our hospitals do, you and some good conservatives like yourself would go and spend some time, and I don't mean 2 weeks, I mean 6 months to 2 years at least.
Your agenda is to push single-payer health care.
Yes.
And I don't agree with that agenda, and the reason I don't is because I don't
agree. I want you to investigate.
Stop talking over me for a second.
No, you talk over me. Come on. Come on.
All right. The reason I don't agree with that is I haven't seen other programs that really are successiously run. Even Medicare is running out of money.
Get him, Alex. Get him, Alex.
It's not running. Medicare is not running out of money. What's running out of money is the government, which steals from the Social Security Administration. And part of that money that we don't have for Medicare is coming from Social Security.
So why would you give them more?
No. And who took the money out of the account?
It doesn't matter. It matters.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? Of course it matters, because you're sitting here with a bold-faced lie that Medicare is going broke, that Social Security is going broke, and the reason if it is because this government didn't look upon it as a locked box, as Al Gore once referred to it as, and they stole from it. They stole from it to
give them more power to fuck
no,
things up?
No, I want to prevent them from stealing from me, Phil, because that's my money.
Well, I agree. And the problem is I would not put the government in charge of anything other than what's
there
necessary.
are at least 3 people here, myself being one of them, who are collecting Social Security and Medicare. Am I right about that, Jack and Jeff?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Kevin, how old are you, Kevin?
61, but I'm on disability.
Oh, okay.
Right, he got in early.
All right. So I
but
mean,
you know what? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Hal.
And if we didn't have that lifeline, we'd be up Schitt's Creek.
So
Yeah.
Phil, what you said was wrong.
That's what I was saying. If you were on it, Phil, you'd feel it.
Yeah. What you said was wrong. We're not trying to give you health care. We're just trying to keep you from dying.
No, you want health care paid by the government, but you don't want to contribute. And that's
Calvin said that.
Whoa. Who said that?
I say that the government does a very poor job of running these programs. And look at the VA, for instance. These people, the lines are longer. Why do people from all over the world come to our country for health care?
Funny. Do you know there are some people, it depends on where, Phil, you're lying, Phil. And here's why you're lying. There are people who are using, the Veterans Administration, are using these veterans hospitals who swear by them. Because there are good ones, there are.
They have nothing
wait a
else.
minute, listen to me, Phil. There are badly run ones, and they've got to be fixed. But the fact is, I've heard that these hospitals are some of the gold standard for the medical industry.
Well, I think you have selective hearing.
No, I don't have selective hearing.
I know
believe
it's a
me,
skill,
if anybody
but,
here has one-way hearing, it's Phil Meyer.
Yeah, well, why does the Congress have 13%
what?
The Congress has a 13% approval rating.
Well,
why is that?
13% of Americans are stupid. Jack,
have you ever noticed the fact that we never have this kind of debate about how come the government always finds money for the military?
Oh yeah.
Never noticed that, gang?
That's what they're supposed to do.
Who says so?
Do you know we have the most expensive military budget in the
fathers.
world? We have a military budget that is 5 times larger than the second country in military budgets. Okay, so we overspend. We've made it an industry and made people rich because of it.
Yeah, what we have is we've got a Congress that continually brings pork out in order to sell you a $700 hammer or a $1,000 toilet seat. And I know that Renee has one of those $1,000 toilet seats.
I do, and it gives
52% of your tax dollar. 52.
Renee,
Hold on a second. I got to say this. 52% of your tax dollar goes to the military. Okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot more than that. There's retirement. There's obligations that we've
It's
signed
all
on.
fucking bullshit. Let's take care of the homeland first, okay? Let's care about each other first. Let's stop bombing other people or actually girding for a war that's never going to happen. Anyway, gotta go. Hey, Scott's gone. What happened to Scott? The secret square.
back.
Scott was our secret square for tonight.
I didn't want to yell at Phil, so I left.
Very good, Scott.
Hey, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack. I know you got to go because you got to do a show here in about a minute and a half.
Yeah, we're going to continue on at the same level of bullshit.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack. Thanks to
I
Jeff.
gotta walk my dog.
And thanks to Ray. Ray, you were very quiet. You were very quiet tonight, Ray.
Well, I gotta. My wife says I'm getting too upset about this, so I'm trying to laugh it off.
Yeah. Renee,
Yeah,
thank you so much for calling
The thing
tonight.
is, there's 2 guys on this show that had to have their wives say that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you're not alone. You're
And
not alone.
Kevin, thank you, and of course Phil,
You know-
thank you. What?
That's why I use jokes, because I don't get upset.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
but they're not jokes unless people
Well,
laugh at them. Anyway, everybody, give a big round of wave goodbye to the audience out there so they can see your shining little faces, and hope we see you tomorrow night with the same stuff here. Boy, they all hung up fast. Wow, they just went all the way. Well, anyway, next over most of the same GabNet, we will be having the intersection with the self-same Jack Bishop we saw a few moments ago. And then after that at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's Connections. Great show. You should listen to it. And it's on at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time, Damian Chaplin in the Exchange. I'll be here tomorrow night with her, by the way, at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. And as always, same time, same station in life. As always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye.